Hello guys, I wanted to talk with you briefly about some of the new streaming platforms that have been coming out lately. When I was watching the Super Bowl last night, I noticed that there were multiple ads for this Paramount Plus thing. So you got all your you got your Nickelodeon, your Comedy Central, your everything that's Viacom or CBS, essentially, because Viacom and CBS are one company. So Paramount is going to have like live sports and things like that. For instance, CBS, I believe, was. I think the Super Bowl was on CBS. Like if you were watching it on cable, I think it was on CBS. So there's that, and then of course you've got. There's two other networks that are worth mentioning. There's AMC Plus and there's Discovery Plus. Now, I would say I know the least about Discovery's material, but you've got like the Home and Garden Network, Discovery, Discovery of course, but you got like a whole slew of reality shows and lifestyle shows and things like that. The Food Network, I think, is on there. So you got your Guy Fieri, and then you got AMC. AMC does have quite a bit of good content, although I can't say that any of it is stuff that I watch anymore. To be honest, because I used to watch, way back when. The Walking Dead, way back when The Walking Dead first was out, I watched some of that, and then of course when Breaking Bad became a big deal, I was a big Breaking Bad guy, like everyone, and I'm a really big Mad Men fan, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise, if you're familiar with the show. But anyway, so you've got so AMC's got really good content. I got nothing bad to say about their content except that all the stuff that I like by them is most of a decade old. I can't remember. I can't remember when The Walking Dead ended, but I know Mad Men ended in 2015. I remember watching some of the last episodes there. And so I don't really know what AMC has to offer these days. I'm not too familiar with their content. And on top of that, they probably have the least amount of... I could be wrong, but they probably have the least amount of content based on like hours that you can watch. Because of course, when it comes to reality shows like the Home and Garden Network, this is Discover Channel, or... the Food Network, things like that. Those you can fill a lot. Those are filler shows. Like you can fill a lot of. Not to say that there isn't some good quality reality stuff out there. There's plenty of good. I'll admit that I enjoy watching Christina on the Coast sometimes. There's some good reality stuff out there, and then I guess Discovery has a lot of hours worth of stuff. But to be honest, like I do think that I think Viacom CBS has a big advantage when it comes to their releasing of the Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is going to have live sports, being that it's owned by CBS. They're also going to have all of their Nickelodeon. I assume they'll have like stuff like Nick at Night, which means that they'd have access to some of the classics like The Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island and things like that. But that doesn't mean that they are necessarily going to. It's still going to be tough. They're like, to be honest, that's the thing, is these guys are breaking into a tough market. Now Paramount is the one that hasn't come out yet. I think that Discovery Plus and AMC Plus have already existed for at least a couple months, but these guys are all very new. So, and this is all on top of the fact that you've got recent additions like such as Disney Plus and Apple TV. So there's just we're just seeing a plethora of content now, an overabundance of content, and I guess you could say it really is. We're seeing the final years of cable's viability. My generation wrote off cable by the time we had grown up. It just had always made sense. Like I have always had to live on a budget, and having cable never made much sense to me. I would always have, to be honest, even streaming platforms don't make sense to a lot of people in times like these. I mean, to think that so given that the average person would only ever have 2-3 of these streaming options at max, I mean, if you already have Netflix and Hulu, or Netflix and Disney Plus, or whatever else, which are you really going to add another one? I mean, I guess I could see someone adding one of the others. I don't know which one I would add. I don't know if any, like, there's already not enough hours in the day to fit in the content I'd like to watch already, and like all I watch is like Netflix and YouTube, which is free. So, there's only so many hours in the day you can spend watching TV, and there's only so many platforms worth purchasing, and I just don't see all of these. Oh, and I was going to mention HBO Go. HBO Go is a thing now too. So there's just so much out there, and it's all we're seeing just a fracturing, a fracturing of the traditional media landscape, or entertainment landscape, and I think that at the end of the day, only a handful can come out on top, and these cable network packages, I think, are going to have limited success. I think that companies we already have Netflix and Hulu, and we already have Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu at the top, but Amazon Prime and Apple TV being up there too. Amazon Prime is still ways above Apple TV. Apple TV just started, but we're talking about billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies backing these. So I suppose there might be room for, I guess, given that HBO Go has a company backing it, like has AT&T backing it, HBO Go can make a real go of it, I suppose. And so can this Paramount Plus, given that they're owned by Viacom and CBS. So, but there's only so much room in there. So I feel like companies like these streaming platforms such as AMC Plus and Discovery Plus, they're gonna have a tough time making it in there unless they're incredibly affordable. They will have to find a way. They'll have to find a niche where they realize, all right, we'll never be the primary streaming platform. Whoever watches us is already going to have 2 other streaming platforms available. They're already somebody's already going to have Disney Plus and Netflix before they decide. All right, well, but I also like some of the Discovery stuff. I like Home and Garden, and I like the Food Network. These streaming services are going to have to realize that though they're going to be like kind of second choice, and they're going to have to be a little cheaper, and they're going to just have to, and they're still going to have to cling to cable for as long as possible, and maybe bundle even further with whoever else is out there, because you might have to they might have to join forces in order to make it. So, but ultimately, Disney Plus has the most content out there. Like when we're talking about if there was one company that has shown remarkable progress in the last year, it would be Disney Plus. They've grown. They went from being non-existent a year ago to taking a number 1 spot. Not number 1 spot. Netflix is still number 1, but Disney Plus has taken a number 2 spot. They've gone from being non-existent to taking a number 2 spot in streaming service subscribers in a year. So, honestly, with the amount of content Disney has and the amount of money they have and the amount of... Honestly, it might just come down... I mean, it might just... Disney might dominate, but there might be enough room for everyone else. I am concerned for Netflix, being that they're the biggest company because they started earliest doing this, but because they had years ahead of everyone else. But the fact that Netflix doesn't have a parent company, so Netflix will always have Netflix might be cooler and have that already have that culture. They already have some cultural stability in streaming. Everybody has a Netflix account, but sooner or later, if your parent company is AT&T or Amazon, you're going to be able to outlast and have bad quarters after bad quarters, and your subscribers you can lose millions of subscribers and be just fine. Netflix can't. If Netflix doesn't have anybody Netflix doesn't have anybody to pay the bills for them. So that's why I would suggest, if you're going to have one platform first, you should have Netflix. There's plenty of things to complain about Netflix about. I mean, they obviously have their own social agenda, just like any other network. And sometimes with Netflix, when you're scrolling through, and it can be painfully clear that Netflix is pushing a social agenda, but they all are to some extent. But Netflix is at least Netflix doesn't have some billion-dollar parent company pulling the strings for them. So if they start losing their market share, they may never get it back, and then it's back to the old order of networks running everything. So I don't want to see that happen, but it looks like the trends are moving more and more towards that direction. So hope if Netflix ever loses its number 1 spot, the streaming landscape might never look the same. But anyway, we'll see how some of these new platforms, how these new streaming services shape up. I have high hopes for Paramount Plus. I think that their connection with CBS and live sports will do them well. But we'll see how everything goes. All right, guys, have a good one.